All right, I'm here with Pat. We just got done reviewing Iron Man 2 for the CRI Weekly News. We decided to leave the camera rolling.
Because the nerds out there need to know a little bit more. Yeah, we're going to try not to spoil it as we roll, but stay with us if we kind of lose track on our thoughts.
If there's people that actually care enough about what we think, this is for that.
There's at least 3 or 4, maybe 5 people in the Oskaloosa community who don't work here who want to know our opinions.
So let's start off. In our review, it was mostly, we focused on the negative. And it would make you think it was a bad movie, but it really isn't. Let's start on things we did like.
Obviously, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Don Cheadle, who played Rhodey, was actually pretty good. Who played him in the first movie?
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard, and there was a big to-do about why are they replacing him, but I think for obvious reasons, height-wise, to fit in the suit, it made a little more sense. But I think he actually pulled it off, and as you've alluded to before taping this, that they're the only two who have like the really good chemistry in the movie. It's a romantic type of chemistry of sorts, but they actually build up those two characters pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. Don Cheadle's actually an actor that's, I think, better than Terrence Howard. It's a little jarring to see an actor, them changing roles between of actors between a movie. You know what I mean? Like the Dark Knight when they changed the love interest halfway through. But they actually have a little meta joke in there in the movie, like "I'm here, get over it."
Oh
like,
yeah, I did not pick up on that.
So,
nice.
And the movie has so many new characters that Pepper Potts, Gwyneth Paltrow's character, comes off a little shrewdish.
That really bothered me. I felt in the first movie, you kind of felt like they had almost a sibling type relationship, that they alluded to the fact that there could have been more there. And then in this film, she's just ragging on him the whole time. Maybe she's kind of grown tired of his, gunslinger, I'm so cool, everybody loves Tony Stark act. But I think they still could have played up the angle that, she still really cares for this guy. And I feel at this point in the movie, she does it. She just shows that she does not like Tony Stark at all.
They're coasting on the chemistry from the first movie, and something I think we hinted at is that because of that, Don Cheadle and Robert Downey Jr. have more chemistry. You almost root for them to get together. No, you don't. What else?
Well, wait. Let's talk about the actual Iron Man. Like, did you like Iron Man and Whiplash and the whole superhero angle? Because we've been talking about Tony Stark.
Yeah. Well, I think the action is still top notch. I think the suit looks great. Special effects are great.
See, I kind of felt like the action was a little toned down. Like, I thought they could have dealt less with the whole Tony Stark Expo thing that was going, Stark Enterprise Expo, and just go into showing him kind of, taking care of business, because they allude to the fact that he's privatized, world peace. Let's see that. Let's see him going to Korea or Afghanistan, China, and dealing with these things, and not just be told, hey, guess what, everything's safe. How did he do that?
For a superhero movie, he's not really doing anything super heroic. He's more or less cleaning up his own problems with the suit. And that's a little nerdy nitpick I guess I have. You want to see him on patrol or whatever, saving the world, but instead he's cleaning up his own messes.
In the first movie, Jeff Bridges, his character, he didn't really show up as like the main bad guy until the end, or close to the second half of the second act, where you get to feel that he's the guy that's going to try and take Tony down. Whereas they establish in the opening credits that Whiplash wants to kill Tony Stark.
That's one of if there is a problem with the first movie, it's the lack of a villain throughout. And that's one of the things I liked about this movie a little bit more, that there's a villain and a legitimate threat throughout. I know you didn't feel Whiplash had much of a presence in the film.
No, I felt that Sam Rockwell's character, Justin Hammer, had way more of a presence. Like, they really kind of go with the alter egos as the main driving force of the film. Tony Stark and Justin Hammer, or Sam Rockwell's character. And Whiplash is just kind of the super villain who's riding along on the coast getting ready to attack again. He attacks early on, and then, of course, in the end, he's got to come back, because you don't make a superhero villain be, just kind of right off into the sunset without being seen.
It's true. It's true. I liked Sam Rockwell, and you did not.
See, I like him a lot. I mean, we both really like Moon. I thought he's been good in other things. One of my favorite movies is Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. I think that's the movie that kind of put him out there as a really cool guy. But it kind of reminded me of the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. You ever see that movie?
Yeah.
In that movie, he kind of plays like the brother to Robert Ford, in that, he's kind of a sad little sack who lives on this family farm. I think he was also Robin Trains. I can't remember exactly. Yeah. But in this movie, he kind of plays that one-dimensional guy who's Tony Stark, but not as smart, kind of an idiot, which I don't think you get to the top of a weapons manufacturing company and everything you make stink, you know?
They probably play him a little too dumb, but I liked what Rockwell brought in that it was almost like the opposite side of the coin to Tony Stark. What Tony Stark could have been if he hadn't made the turn he does in the first movie.
Well, maybe that's the thing that like Sam Rockwell's character is the guy who kind of stays on the same path, never goes the suit up path. Whiplash goes the suit up path. Ivan Vanko, and he goes the supervillain path, trying to kill Tony Stark. He doesn't care about anybody else. He doesn't want to take over the world. And then Iron Man, you know, goes the righteous path, the good vigilante path. So.
What I liked about Sam Rockwell's role, and I told you this, that Sam Rockwell was originally up for the role of Iron Man. So there's a little meta level there where you can kind of see, oh, this is how he would play Tony Stark, maybe, and be a little jackassy. But thankfully, they cast Robert Downey Jr. I know the studio was afraid for a while because he wasn't the most reliable actor for a long period of time.
Robert Downey Jr.?
So they had Sam Rockwell on contract to maybe fill it in if something were to happen. But thankfully, Robert Downey Jr. is clean and he gives a great performance.
I do like when they first introduced Justin Hammer in front of the Senate committee on Iron Man and turning over the suit. He's fun. You know, you immediately establish that he is just as fun, if not kind of an idiot, compared to Tony Stark with his addressing the crowd. And he wants to be just as liked as Tony Stark. He thinks he is Tony Stark, but he's not. So, I don't know.
I'm trying to think of other things that we haven't touched on. This film does a lot of groundwork for sequels.
Not so much Iron Man sequels, I don't feel, as Avengers.
Yeah.
I mean, the cookie at the end stayed through the credits. We won't spoil that.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's a scene where they just flat out bring out the Captain America shield.
I found those scenes to be distracting, and
Absolutely. What was the point of that shield? I mean, it's like, hey, guess what? Here's a little fun. They could have cut that out, and nobody would have thought a single thing about it. Except to say, this guy's leaving, and we haven't seen him.
It would have been cute if it was like 30 seconds shorter. If they would have shown the shield, and then we see what happens to the shield. That would have been a cute little Easter egg instead of a, hey, distracting, hey, look at me, guess what's coming out next summer?
I think so. I think so.
But what they're doing there is establishing a whole line of these superhero movies, and they're dropping hints throughout the movie